Good evening and a very warm welcome to Orient Live. I'm Ollie Buck and I'm delighted to be joined this evening by Jabba Abiri and Andrew Butler. And the dust has settled following on from Saturday's close game against Man City in the FA Cup. And arguably, the O's should have picked up some points against the best side, I think, in the country of the last few years. But hey, we turn our attention to climbing up that league and aiming for that end goal of being successful in League One. Jabbo, we can't not acknowledge what happened on Saturday.
Yeah.
I mean, wow, what an effort.
Oh, what an effort. It was unbelievable. The atmosphere was just the best I've seen in a long while. The effort, the commitment, the energy, the belief in the boys on the weekend was just incredible, and they're going to be on a high. It was a euphoric experience, and I loved it. I'm sure they did.
I mean, you couldn't have argued with a draw, I think. I mean, they had to bring on Phil Foden and Kevin De Bruyne just to turn things around. They were wasting time in the corner from the 85th minute. Huge compliment to Orient, really, isn't it?
A massive compliment. I mean, there were so many different moments as well that was so fun, so enjoyable. Of course, the goal, but you mentioned Phil Foden and Kevin De Bruyne. I've not heard a stadium it's so in unison than shouting the "who" when they both came on. It was a game full of enjoyment, excitement, good humour, and really we went toe to toe with them, and we made them look kind of quite average, really, which is absolutely incredible. So a massive effort. It was something that lots of people had in their minds for at least 3 or 4 games coming into the game, but at least we managed to put Exeter away, 6-2 away, narrow defeat against Stockport, but everyone's focus has been undiminished in the last month to get to that point. So yeah, hopefully it will take some encouragement from that game, because it was a special day.
It certainly was special, and it does of course bounce us into a game so soon after, and it's Mansfield Town tonight, and Richie Wellens will be hoping for a slightly better result than Saturday, as we'll pick up some more points in the league. Let's hear what Richie had to say ahead of this evening's fixture.
Gaffer, all the hype around Man City is done and dusted now. It's back to the bread and butter. Mansfield tomorrow. How much are we looking forward to it, and how much are we ready to go again?
Can't wait, because it's our bread and butter. The training ground was back to usual this morning. Hardly anybody here, no cameras, no press, no outside influences. So it's important now that there's a brilliant experience for the players, but that experience with the opposition, with the supporters especially, that just only has to fuel a fire now. And we want to make sure that our last 18 games, more importantly our last remaining home games, are vital for where we're going to finish at the end of the season. Like I say, fuel a fire, and let's see if we can get days like that week in, week out. First of all at the end of this season, but then ultimately can we get to the Championship.
Will the players need any picking up, do you think?
No, because we're going to make a few changes, because I don't want to pick everybody that has an emotional attachment to that game. I mean, I've said it so many times, the importance that our supporters can have. The players are warming up and the atmosphere is in the warm. It's just that it's so easy for the players to go out and perform, and the energy, to keep the energy up. So if the supporters can replicate that for the last 8 home games, then it gives us every chance, because we need them on board. It was fantastic at the weekend, but obviously we need to freshen it up, and we need players that watch that from the side and can't wait and chomping at the bit to play a game of football. So there'll be a few changes, but we also need to freshen it up as well.
Mansfield came up last season. They've had a decent first half of the season. What can we expect from them?
I actually watched their first game of the season. They played Barnes away, I think it was 4-0. They used the momentum for the previous season. They've done an outstanding job, Nigel. He's over a period of time. They've been really stable, and deservedly went up in a tough league. I think only Wrexham and Stockport finished above them. So good job, good club, and they started really well, and they used that momentum at the start of the season. They found it a little bit tougher at this stage of the season, but I think apart from the top 3 or 4, although Huddersfield are finding that now, it's the league where you can have a run where you're struggling in different parts of the season. So it'll be a difficult game. We need to make sure that we do the basics right again, like we did against Manchester City, like we did in previous weeks, because every side that we play will pose as a threat.
Well, it is time to get another run going in the league and continue the fine form that we've seen in recent months. And there's been a handful of changes, 5 to be exact, with 2 debutants this evening as well. Let's run it through from the back. Starting in goal, it's our number 24, it's Josh Keeley. Across the back line, we have Jack Curry at left back with Ethan Galbraith on the opposite side of defence. At the heart of the defence is Dan Happy alongside Romari Edmonds-Green, who's making his debut. We'll be referring to him as Reg whilst he's in an Orient shirt. In the midfield, the captain Darren Pratley starts alongside Jordan Brown, and then the 3 attacking players in front of them is Randle Williams. He's making his debut this evening. He's on the left side of the attack with Dylan Markanday on the right side. The goal scorer, who I'm sure we're going to have a few words to say about tonight, Jamie Donnelly, is in the number 10 role with Azim Abdullahi leading the line for the O's. So that's an interesting front four. And just running through the bench for the O's as well, we have Noah Phillips, Thomas James, Jack Simpson, Don Ball, Charlie Kelman, Sonny Perkins and Dan Adji. That's the Mansfield team. We'll come on to that one later. We'll get rid of that for now. But let's stick with the Orient lineup, Andrew, because that's all that matters. Where do we begin? I mean, let's start with the defence, because that's probably the most, or the position that Eyes would probably be on. Reg making his debut alongside Dan Happy. Happy and Simpson were phenomenal, as was the whole back line on Saturday. Coming in is going to be a big task for Reg.
Yeah. But at least he's coming into a unit that is evidently working very, very well, and can kind of, he should have been able to look at what we've done in defence and slot in and go, okay, this is the way that they play, this is what is required of me in that back line. I thought across the back, I mean, Tom James came back from a little bit of a spell on the sidelines and was outstanding on Saturday. Jack Curry did exactly what we expected him to do. He was brilliant. But actually Dan Happy and Jack Simpson just kept the Man City front line so quiet throughout the whole game. So much so actually that in the 55th, I think, 56th minute, I turned to my mate and I was like, oh, I didn't realise McAtee was even playing. I was like, did McAtee come on at half time? Because I didn't really see him at all in the first half. Maybe that was my poor reading of the game entirely, but really we kept him so quiet, and it was very, very pleasing to see. So yeah, Reg will come in and hopefully do the job that is expected of him. There's incredibly high standards, which hopefully won't become too overawing for him, because we've kept a hell of a lot of clean sheets this season. Keeley by himself has 12 clean sheets to his name, and hopefully we'll just be able to keep that run going.
There's a centre back who stands at 5'9", does a Reg. If you're a Mansfield striker, you're probably looking at that as a potential weakness, especially making a debut. But he's obviously alongside such an experienced now player in Dan Happy, who's got a lot of height. Maybe he helped Reg out there, but he's going to offer things in different areas. Richie's worked with him before, and I think he described him as a young Matt Baldry once upon a time, which a lot of Orient fans will be excited to hear. But it's an exciting new partnership.
Yeah, it really is, and like Andrew was saying there, he's coming into a defence that's kind of very well oiled at the moment, with a strong goalkeeper behind them and good communication. So hopefully he slots in well. He's a good reader of the game. He's sharp. He thinks smart, and he's streetwise on the pitch. So hopefully, that combination with Haps, it would just be a seamless transition for him. But I'm excited to see him slot in and see what he brings to the table.
He's one of 2 debutants tonight. We'll come on to Randle Williams shortly, but as a January signing, I don't know if you were ever transferred in a January window, but coming in, and if a team's doing so well, do you absorb that confidence, that good feeling, and does it make it easier to slot in? Yeah,
I think so, definitely. I think, to settle in anywhere when the team's going well and it's bubbling, there's a good atmosphere, there's a good energy, you reciprocate that, and you come into it a lot easier. It's easy to settle in. When you come into like a team that's not doing so well, it's just that you feel the negativity, some people ain't on it and stuff like that. So to come into a team that's doing really well, riding high, and everyone's buzzing, they're welcoming him, and then it'd be a nicer transition, easier way to settle in.
I think there's also a couple of players that he could probably lean on in terms of just starting out at the club. He would have been here on Saturday and seen Jamie Donnelly score that phenomenal effort, and he could probably just go up to Jamie and he'd be probably well advised to and be like, how did you settle in? How did you start? And if Donnelly was being honest, he'd be like, oh, I had a bit of a slower start than I would have liked to, but it will come in due course. I think similarly, I don't think it would be unfair to say that similarly about Sonny Perkins as well, and he's obviously signed now on a permanent. So there's players in the squad who would have had that familiar feeling and that kind of similar experience, who've just joined the club very recently, that he could ask that of.
Obviously, Azim, Abdullahi and Markanday settled in very quickly as well, so it does feel like a good environment for new players. Let's talk with someone who feels like a new signing. Jack, well, actually he doesn't really, but he's just been so good that Jack Curry joined on loan at the beginning of the season, but he really feels like one of our own. And I highlight him just because I think he maybe went under the radar a bit for star performers on Saturday. He won every challenge. He kept Savinho in his back pocket. He was exceptional. He was absolutely brilliant. I mean, we were sat quite close to each other, I think, on this side of the stadium in the East Stand, and you got to see him really like quite up close. And he was trying to mark Savinho out of the game. Savinho is, you know, from everything that you see of him, incredibly quick, nippy winger. Maybe you can tell what he's going to do. He likes to cut in onto his left foot, but at no point during the game did he look overawed, like fussed by the fact that this was a Premier League player, a Champions League player coming to try and like skin him down the line and stuff. He just did his job, and he was like every time just had him, and it was just, you know, you look at those two players up against each other, and you know, if you said to a neutral, right, who's the Premier League player and who's playing in League One at the moment, you wouldn't be able to tell. You certainly wouldn't. But that's the defence, and another clean sheet tonight would be massive. But obviously Jordan Brown and Darren Pratley are the two enforcing that midfield and trying to protect that defence, and that's the tried and tested partnership. Jordan Brown again. I mean, I feel like this discussion here is just going to be us going, how good were they on Saturday? They will. We won't say that again. But I mean, it's the latest performance that sticks in your mind, and those two in midfield bouncing into tonight. Mansfield are going to have a tough task winning the battles in midfield. Yeah, definitely. But I think it's important that there is some sort of like consistency in that spine, because there's a few changes and in important positions. So it's nice to have that, you know, that cohesion between them two. They know each other's game. They know how to sort of like operate in front of the defence and how to link up the spaces from defence to attack. So I think it's important to have those two, especially the way they're playing and the buzz from the weekend's game. I think it will just help solidify and make the transition, especially for Reg to come into the team, more comfortable. Absolutely. Well, don't forget, if you're watching along live on our YouTube stream, then tonight's match is on Sky Sports Plus with the new EFL broadcasting deal that came in this season. But also, if you're an international fan, you can pick up a pass to watch along with us here on Orient Live. A pass for international fans is only £10, or an audio pass will let you listen along with Dave Victor and Matt Hiscock on commentary. Just head over to the Orient website and over to the Match Centre to pick up your pass for that one. But now, before we push on with tonight's match, let's hear from an Orient legend. It's time to hear from Terry Howard.
Terry, 3 days on from a game here that had so much build-up around it. We're back in action again. How much of a challenge would it be for the players to go again so soon?
Yeah, there's obviously the element of being after the Lord Mayor's show. I mean, Saturday was a very special day. I think, you know, all of us just were so encouraged by how the boys played. There's always that danger now that we don't slip because it's Mansfield and not Man City. Richie would it had drummed into the players. It had been in their ears, making sure there's no complacency tonight. But there will be an element maybe of a little bit of fatigue, mentally and physically. But we've got players to come back in as well, which is good. I think it's good that Richie can mix and match it if he feels that some of the players might be a little bit leggy after Saturday.
Given the league position that we're in such a good position. Does that almost help us in some ways, in that there's no need for us to pick ourselves up because there's a bigger prize to potentially fight for?
Well, yes, on one hand, that's right. I think on the other hand, you know, we've set standards, haven't we? You know, and you look at the league, and while we've sort of not been playing, I think we dropped to 8th, is that right? Or somewhere around 9th now, yeah. So, you know, it's important that we get right. But, you know, listen, as I said, Saturday was brilliant, but we've got to put it behind us now. You know, this is the bread and butter. This is what we're here for, really. And I think tonight, if we can get back into that winning groove straight away, I think it'll, you know, it all sort of will transition smoothly into the games coming up.
Mansfield won promotion last year, so they're kind of in a similar position to what we were in this time last year. How difficult will they make it for us tonight, and how tough a game do you think it will be?
Listen, it's going to be tough, isn't it? They're not going to lay down. I know they're having a poor run at the moment, which makes us, you know, we've got to be careful that we're not the first ones to end that run for them. Like us, they come up last season, like we did the season before. They've found their way very well in the league, kind of like what we've done. They're probably punching a little bit above their weight, to be in and around the playoffs would probably be their goal. But as I say, from our point of view, we've got that experience of this division. We've got to go and really sort of, as I always say, take the game to them early.
And the fans who were here on Saturday made so much noise. The players have mentioned it. Richie's mentioned it. So looking at tonight, how much of a difference can they make? How much can they help us?
Well, listen, it's important that the fans get up for it. Don't leave how they were on Saturday behind either. They've got to be vocal, really get us into the game. As I say, it always works both ways. We've got to do something on the pitch to get them going, and then they've got to do something to keep us going. And as I say, it's all like teamwork, if you like. And tonight there'll be a decent crowd here again. And as I say, if we can hit our stride early, I think we involve the crowd naturally then, and it does make life a bit easier.
Top stuff there from Terry. And now let's talk about the attacking players. Terry was touching on it there, and you touched on it already, Jabbo, but as we move up the pitch, it's a bit of a jigsaw here, really. We know Jamie Donnelly will take that 10 spot, but Ethan Galbraith, Dylan Markanday and Azim Abdullahi, how do you think that one will work? We've got it noted down as Abdullahi as a striker, but I mean, it could be anyone's guess.
Yeah, that's what makes it really exciting. They're so fluid. They can all go in behind. They're all mobile. They've got nice, good feet, and good bodies and stuff like that. So I'm quite excited to see how they pose their threat. But I think they could all take up positions. But it'd be interesting how they all link up, especially with the fine form Donnelly's in.
Well, they are all just going to enjoy playing around him. The form he's in, as you say, he'll be able to find any three of them. But you'd imagine with Markanday and Galbraith, Williams, of course, Randle Williams. With Williams and Markanday, they're probably the most natural wingers, leaving Abdullahi up top. Would you imagine he's more of a false nine, drop a bit deeper? He's a midfielder by trade. It's an interesting one.
It's a very interesting one. I think Abdullahi has the physicality and the builds to cause problems up top, and obviously got a hat trick in the game against Exeter, but that was pretty much coming off the wing each time against a defence that just gave him the freedom of the city pretty much. So it will be interesting. I mean, we were talking before we came on there, Randall's got the number 9 shirt, but then, I mean, we'll come on to this later. Jordan Bowery's got the number 9 shirt for Mansfield, and he's playing centre-back. So, Jamo's here next to me, talking about number 9s, and they're not even playing, they might not even play strikers.
Shocking.
Either of them.
Shocking.
Shocking.
Blasphemy.
The game's gone, but this is why I'm getting a bit confused, because a lot of people have Randle Williams at full-back, and even Galbraith over full, but we think it'll be Randle on that wing. From what we've seen, we've got some clips of him here. It's confusing because he has been playing left wing back for Bolton, but by trade he is a winger. And we've got to see some clips of some really fantastic tackles and defensive work, and glimmers of what he can do as a winger as well.
Yeah, I mean, it just shows he's got a great engine, great enthusiasm in both boxes. Whether it's to defend, whether it's to try and get on the score sheet, he's involved, and he's got a good delivery out wide. Very positive, very strong runner. And he can read the game rather well.
It's the work rate that's really jumping out here, as Jabbo says, that tenacity in defence when doing a job that he's been asked to do that maybe isn't his first initial job. He does it, and that's what Richie looks for, isn't it?
Yeah. And again, we had that delivery there, and looks like a very, very sweet left foot as well, which is always very pleasing to see. Interested to see who'll be on the set pieces as well, because obviously Jamie Donnelly takes those in-swinging ones from the right-hand side. Randle Williams can probably do a job doing that as well. Donnelly's he scored a direct free kick in that game against Bristol Rovers earlier in the season as well. So we'll wait and see. I mean, the bedding in a new player is going to be an interesting one, and I guess it's that case of having a coherent front line is the thing that is most important. And for the first time this season, we've got Adji and Kelman on the bench, and we still look strong as well. And it's obviously nothing that they haven't done anything wrong. In fact, they've done so much right that they've played pretty much every minute that they've been available for. So Kelman gets a much needed break and well deserved. Although he doesn't, we don't really want him on the bench because we'd love to play him every minute of every game.
And it's probably thrown the Mansfield coaches and the analysts a bit of a curveball. They probably wouldn't have done any homework on how they'd play against this specific lineup, which could only be a positive for the O's.
Yeah, of course. They need some sort of, they would be doing their analysis, Mansfield, because they're desperate for points and desperate for a win. So this is just a massive curveball for them. They're thinking, they're going to play. Oh, they've got number 9, but he's playing right on the wing. So they're just going to be pulling their hair out, and we just need to make that count and capitalise on that.
We certainly do. Well, he is making his debut tonight, Randle Williams, and we're going to hear from him now.
Yeah, it's been great. Boys have been excellent with me. Settled in really nicely, to be fair. Main thing is just trying to get on with everyone. But as you said, I'm used to it by now. I've played for a few clubs now. But as I said before, the boys have been excellent, staff have been excellent with me. I think for me, it's just coming in and learning what the gaffer wants from me and settling into the team as quick as possible. I think it's important as a player to go and play for a manager that really wants you. And again, he plays wingers, and I haven't played winger for a while, and it's a position that is probably where I want to play. So yeah, just the identity of the club, where they're at, and the philosophy that the gaffer plays really drew me towards the club. But again, it's always great to be appreciated and to play for a club that wants you, it gives you that little bit extra spark to play for the badge even more. Just pace, work ethic, and hopefully the quality in the final third to get us across the line. Really happy for all the boys. It was a great memory that they'll have forever. I thought they were outstanding, to be fair. Real pleasure to watch against the top side. And to be fair, they probably deserved more than what they got. But if they can do that against Manchester City, I don't see why we can't go all the way in the league. At the moment, just take game by game, settle in, see what the gaffer wants from me, the way he wants me to play, the way I got to learn, obviously, the relationships with the boys, and then hopefully just win as many games as possible to the end of the season and chase that promotion.
Right then, just over 5 minutes to go until we will be passing over to our match coverage team. But first, we've got a reminder about a Leyton Orient women's game that is taking place here at the Goffin Group Stadium. You can buy your tickets, actually no, you don't need to buy your tickets for this one. It's free for you to come along against Islington Borough Ladies on Sunday the 16th of February. It's a 2 o'clock kickoff, and as I said, free entry here in the West End. So make sure you get yourself down to Leyton Orient in the E10 and get behind the girls for that one. But now let's turn our attention to the away side, and it is Mansfield Town, who are desperate for a win. You've seen their lineup once already. Let's take a look at it again for real this time. So starting in goal is their number 1. It's Christy Pym. Their back 3 is the captain Alfie Kilgore alongside Aidan Flint and former Orient striker and number 9 Jordan Bowery. Across the midfield we have Aaron Lewis, Louis Reid and Haran Boateng, with Luke Aikins and Callum MacDonald in the wide positions, with Jordan Rhodes and Caelan Vickers the 2 strikers. And on the substitute bench for the Stags is Scott Flinders, Elliot Hewitt, Keno Bacchus, Stephen Quinn, Stephen McLaughlin, George Maris and Will Evans. So, what do you make of that one, Andrew? They are in a torrid run of form and probably won't be too looking forward to coming here tonight, having watched Saturday's game.
Yeah, torrid is the right word, Ollie. I mean, they've been just so poor of late, and it's just up to us to capitalise on that, just to kind of give the viewers a sense of how poor Mansfield have been. They've lost their last 6 in a row. That includes losses against Shrewsbury, Cambridge and Crawley, who are all in the relegation zones. Nigel Clough has called the latest run, I think, the worst feeling of his managerial career, which is extraordinary when you consider that Nigel Clough has managed over 1,500 games in football. He's the 17th highest, most number of games managed in world football, 1,500, and he's calling this the worst period that he's had as a manager. So it really is up to us to capitalise on that. They, of late, have just been kind of a bit all over the place, but they've all been quite tight games, losing by 1 goal here and there. But we've got goals in our team, and we've shown really good attacking intent of late. Most notably that win against Exeter, when we put 6 past them. So hopefully we'll just give them another beating and take all 3 points.
We've got some of their recent goals conceded to take a look at Jabbo. We would have been doing our homework and taking a look at this here, and we would have been probably looking quite optimistic about our chances against this defence.
Yeah, I mean they're not linking together well at the moment. They're all in disarray. The keeper's, you know, he just things close to his body just going through him, and I know Pim as well very well. I'm not a fan, but anyway. But no, I think that you know, we have to capitalise on this at the moment because they're just not at it. They're lacking confidence, and with the form we're in and the players at the moment that are on fire, we should, you know, business should be straightforward.
Sounds like some bad blood between you and Chris Pim Jabbo. We won't delve into that one too much, but he's a keeper that must be bereft of any confidence, and just the back three in general with their wing backs. Confidence is key, and it doesn't look like they've got much.
Yeah, I mean their defence has been certainly very ropey. They've brought in Jordan Rose, which is, you know, kind of feels like a cliche to talk about Jordan Rose, but he seems to score goals everywhere he is. Lee Gregory's was injured against Northampton. He got 10 goals this season, and he was their only player who's got more than 3 goals so far this season. So they are really struggling for goals in that department too.
And a quick word on, but you've touched on it already, but number 9 at centre back, Jordan Bowery.
Just one for the Orient fans to look out for. Jordan Bowery now plays centre back.
Yeah, crazy. We'll see how that one goes. Hopefully we can target that and get some goals. But the players are now making their way out onto the pitch here at the Gotham Group Stadium. So let's head over to Dave Victor and Matt Hiscock.
Thank you. Well, good evening and welcome to the Gotham Group Stadium, Brisbane Road. And after the pride and the drama of Saturday, attention now turns, Matt Hiscock, to what is undoubtedly the priority of the season.
Yeah, without a doubt. I say the circus came to town, but this was always the important fixture. Richie Wellens made no bones about that. And then Lincoln on Saturday, back-to-back home opportunities for the O's, followed by 3 very tricky away tests. So tonight, I think, will be seen as a must-win game.